After being the longest-serving governor in California's history, Governor Jerry Brown's term ends this year. This November 6th, Californians get to decide who the new governor will be, either Democratic candidate Gavin Newsom or Republican candidate John Cox. But what exactly do we know about these two men? The Democratic candidate, Gavin Newsom, is 51 years old and is the current lieutenant governor of California. John Cox, the Republican candidate, is 63 years old and is a businessman and accountant. The two men discussed their plans for California over the radio on October 8th in their only general election debate. Radio host Scott Schaefer led the debate on the candidates' priorities for California, such as immigration, gun violence, and the housing crisis.
X-ray policy is nothing more than this. It's about community policing. It's about building trust. A victim of crime or a witness of crime is more likely to come forward if they're not worried about local law enforcement being an arm of federal immigration deportation.
Newsom's stance on gun violence starkly contrasted Cox's.
I believe gun safety laws work and save lives. I want California to continue its leadership.
Both candidates agree that there is a housing crisis, but have different approaches to how to solve these issues. Newsom sees the housing crisis as an issue of production.
But it's also an issue of intentionality, or lack thereof. There are no statewide housing goals in California. There are no timelines, no objectives, no strategies to organize at the local level. We have a desire to take our $85 million affordable housing tax credit, increase it over the next few years to $500 million to leverage more financing for affordable housing.
Unlike Newsom, Cox is in favor of building a wall and wants to repeal the sanctuary law.
I think if somebody's here illegally and they're engaged in criminal activity, I think it's up to our public officials to kick them out.
Regarding gun violence, Cox said more laws are not going to do the job.
I certainly favor keeping the guns out of the hands of people who are dangerous, people who are mentally ill, but the Second Amendment is an important amendment.
Cox's strategy to solve the housing crisis means eliminating government involvement.
It's government that has driven up the cost of housing in California. Now, we have to exercise leadership from Sacramento, and I will certainly do that because we do need to build a lot of housing, but we need to build that housing in a cost-effective way with lower cost. Now, I certainly want local authorities to be involved in the process.
Newsom is currently leading in most polls against Cox and is spending the most money on his campaign, reaching more voters. But it all comes down to your vote on November 6th. For Cougar News, I'm Valeria Vazquez.